progress. So welcome again. And let's get into today's topic, how to budget and save with an unpredictable income. But before we get into the strategies, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself and my relationship with money. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Alexandra, and I wear two hats at Credit Canada. I'm an education program lead and a credit counselor. I've been working in financial education since 2017 after spending over 25 years in the banking sector. I have two amazing adult children who now live in Toronto. I live in London, Ontario with my elderly mom and our very vocal bird. Outside of work, I love walking and spending time in nature. My passion for financial literacy started with a very personal wake-up call. I still remember the exact moment everything changed. I was in my university dorm room working on a project when my mom called me in tears. My dad had filed for bankruptcy. Up until that point, I believed we were doing well. My dad was a businessman. We lived in a nice house, and money always seemed to be there. But I didn't realize that much of that was built on credit. And when that credit ran out, so did the illusion of stability. I had to start working to help support my family. I had to come back to my hometown. I was working in like the capital of my country. But what affected me most was the confusion. We never really talk about money at home, and I didn't know what truly made someone financially secure. My years in banking helped me a lot to understand financial products, but it wasn't until I left the corporate world, joined the nonprofit sector, and became an accredited financial counselor that everything really clicked. I finally understood how to manage money in a way that builds real, lasting stability. And I've made it my mission to share that knowledge and experience with others. That's why I'm here today, because I know how overwhelming it can feel when money gets tight. And I want to help you take back control, feel more confident, and move forward with a clear plan. But before we dive into today's topic, let me tell you a little more about the organization I work for. Credit Canada is proud to be Canada's oldest non-profit credit counseling agency with over 50 years of experience helping Canadians overcome debt and build healthier money habits. Our mission is simple yet powerful. We help people get out of debt so they can get back into life. We are dedicated to transforming the way people use credit so they can make empowered financial choices now and in the future. To support our mission, we offer three core services: credit counseling, financial coaching, and financial education. And that's exactly why we are here today, to share some tools, tips, and knowledge that can help you take your next step to our financial well-being. So let me guess. Some months you feel like you're killing it. You land a couple of big contracts, pick up extra shifts, or the gigs just keep coming in. The income rolls in, and for a moment, things feel, things feel really, really good. But then the next month, crickets. A client cancels, work dries up, or there's just less demand. And then suddenly you're just trying to make ends meet, figuring out how to cover rent, groceries, and the essentials. That's what I call the roller coaster effect. And if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. As a credit counselor, I speak with so many people, freelancers, gig workers, small business owners who live in that same up and down cycle. It's exhausting and it can make budgeting feel impossible. But here's the good news, you can still build stability even with a fluctuating income. With the right tools and some small mindset shifts, it's possible to feel more in control of your finances instead of feeling like your finances are constantly controlling you. That's what we are going to explore today. We will look at how to shift your mindset, how to build a budget that flexes with your income, and how to create a simple but powerful saving strategy that prioritizes financial stability even when things are unpredictable. So let's start with one of the biggest game changers I've seen in my work, the mindset shift, the one that helps people feel calm and confident no matter how much they earn each month. So, the first step to budgeting with unpredictable income is not about numbers, it's about mindset. Before we talk about numbers or budgets, we need to talk about mindset. Most people I work with who have irregular income get stuck in what I call reaction mode. They wait to see how much money comes in, then scramble to adjust. They budget only when things get tight. They save only if there's something left over. And when a slow month hits, just panic sets in. That mindset makes total sense. But over time, it leads to stress, instability, and burnout. The good news, there's a better way. Shifting your mindset means moving from reacting to your income to building stability around that income. That's what this slide is all about. So take a look. On the left, you will see the old way of thinking. I never know how much I will make, or I only budget when I'm falling behind, or I save if there's something left. On the right side is the new mindset, one that gives you more control. Instead of guessing, you work with your income average and trends. Instead of budgeting in crisis, you follow a simple monthly system. Instead of saving only if there's something left, you save first, even if it's just $10. And instead of panicking during slow months, you lean on a buffer you have built from the good ones. So, in summary, what does shifting the mindset look like? It looks like moving from survival mode to stability, from reacting to planning, from hoping there's money left to making sure there is. This shift is powerful and it's possible even if your income is unpredictable. In the next few slides, I will walk you through exactly how to build that system step by step. At our credit counseling agency, we work with people every day who feel overwhelmed about their finances. And the ones with unpredictable income often feel stuck in a loop, never quite sure how to plan ahead. That's why we created a system, something that's clear, flexible, and actually works in real life. We call it the predictable system for unpredictable income. And it is a three-step plan to build stability, save consistently, and stress less. These are the three steps on our system. First, know your numbers. So you are working with real averages, not guesswork. Then we build a flexible budget that adjusts with your income highs and lows. Then we prioritize savings. Even small, regular amounts can build momentum. When your income goes up and down, it's easy to feel like you cannot plan. But here's the trick, you can actually plan using your average income instead of your highest or lowest month income. That's why the step number one is know your numbers. Start by looking at your last 3 to 6 months of income. If you have had irregular income for a few years, you can even look at the last 2 to 3 years of income. Then add up what you earn, even if it was from different sources, and then divide that amount by the number of months or years that you use. That number gives you your monthly average. This is a realistic, grounded starting point for your budget. It doesn't need to be perfect. You are just trying to find a number that reflects your typical month. That way, you're not budgeting based on a great month you hope will happen or a slow month you're scared of, but something in between. This average becomes the foundation for your budget, your saving goals, and your financial decisions. Before we move into step number 2 of our system, let's take a moment to look at our intentional spending model. This is a simple but powerful way to decide where your money should go first, especially when income is tight or unpredictable. So I want to picture your money like you are packing a backpack for a trip, but there's only so much space. What do you pack first? The things you absolutely can't go without. Your passport, medications, warm clothes. Everything else, you pack it only if there's room. That's exactly how this model works. It's designed as a 4-step ladder with the most important expenses, your must-haves at the bottom. These are your financial foundation. As you climb the ladder, the urgency decreases. If your income drops, you start at the bottom and move up only as your budget allows. So the step one is essentials. These are your non-negotiables, the things that protect your health, safety, and shelter. You pack these first, no matter what. That's your rent, mortgage, utilities, basic groceries, essential transportation, medications, or urgent health needs. These are, as I said, your must-haves. When money is tight, these always take top priority. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes we confuse how we meet a need with what the actual need is. For example, yes, food is essential, but going to a restaurant is not. Buying groceries and cooking at home meet the same need with less financial strain. So when you assess your essentials, ask yourself, is this the most intentional way to meet this need? Let's move then into the step number 2, important but flexible. These are expenses that support your stability, but they have some wiggle room. They are important, but not always urgent, and there may be options to adjust them. For example, the minimum debt payments. You don't want to skip this, but if you're struggling, you might be able to work with creditors on a temporary plan. Also, insurance premiums. These are important for protection, but you may be able to reduce coverage, switch providers, or defer a payment in a pinch. Also, like work-related services or subscriptions, you may be able to pause them or downgrade them or just temporarily replace them. These are not the first expenses to cut, but they are the first to rethink when income drops. You ask yourself, can I reduce this or delay it? Or can I just adjust these without serious consequences? Then we move into the step number 3, non-essentials but necessary. These are not about survival, but they do help keep life running smoothly and help to meet important responsibilities. For example, basic phone or internet, childcare, especially if needed for work or school, personal care items. If your income drops, this is the level where you can look for support or for some alternatives or some ways to scale back without fully cutting them out. And then we have the luxuries or discretionary expenses. These are the nice to haves. There's nothing wrong with spending here if your other layers are fully covered, but they are the easiest to pause or even eliminate when your income is limited. Think dining out or takeout or entertainment, some streaming or subscriptions, online shopping, gym memberships, or hobbies. These are the items you pack last only if there's space left in the budget. When your income is unpredictable, this model helps you spend with intention, not guilt. It helps you make thoughtful decisions about what can wait and what truly needs to be covered first. Okay, now that you have seen how to prioritize your expenses using the ladder from absolute essentials to nice to haves, let's talk about how to build a budget that puts that model into practice. This is where the second step in our system comes in, building a flexible budget that works with your income, not against your income. When your income changes from month to month, you cannot rely on a one size fits all plan. That's why we recommend creating two versions of your budget, a bare minimum budget and a baseline budget, so you can adjust depending on how much you earn. So let's break those down. Start with your bare minimum budget. This is your survival budget, the absolute minimum you need to cover to stay housed, fed, safe, and functioning. It includes things like housing, rent or mortgage, utilities, hydro, heat, basic groceries, transportation, gas, public transit, or even the car insurance, medications, or the minimum debt payments if you cannot negotiate anything with the financial institution, basic phone and internet if you need them for work or to stay in contact with your family or potential clients, essential childcare if you're working or in a school or looking for work. To figure out what belongs here, ask yourself, is this essential to keep myself and my family safe, healthy, working, or out of legal or financial trouble? If the answer is no, it doesn't belong in your bare minimum budget. Even if something is a committed expense, like a subscription or a membership, if it's easy to cancel or delay without serious consequences, it doesn't go here. Then build your baseline budget. Once your bare minimum is clear, the next step is to build your realistic monthly budget, the one that you aim to use in a typical month based on your average income. So your baseline budget includes everything from your bare minimum list, plus some upgrade groceries like more variety, eating out occasionally, also clothing and personal care, hygiene, um, insurance beyond the essentials like tenant insurance or life insurance or extended health insurance, your phone and internet if you may want to have an upgraded plan or some streaming or tools in addition to the basic packages, household supplies like cleaning, laundry, or some home items, gifts and giving, so birthdays, holidays, small donations, irregular expenses fund. This is for example, car repairs or some yearly renewals. I also include here emergency saving contributions and low cost fun. We all need to have some fun, entertainment, hobbies, or takeout. You can build this with whatever tool works best for you. A simple spreadsheet or a more sophisticated app or even just a pen and paper. The important thing is that you know your important things, um, the numbers for your bare minimum, and then the other things that you want to include in your baseline. After you create your two budgets, the bare minimum and the baseline, the next step is to hold them up against your average income and ask yourself one powerful question: where do I stand? So this is where the system gets real and actually useful. We're going to use a traffic light model, like simple, visual, and easy to follow. So let's see the green zone. In this one, your average income is equal to or more than your baseline budget. If your average income is equal to or more than your baseline budget, that's the ideal situation. It means you can comfortably cover your essentials, save a little, and include some lifestyle spending without relying on credit. In this case, stick to your baseline budget as your regular spending plan. When you earn more than the average, so use that extra money to build up savings, pay off debt faster, or plan ahead for big expenses. When you earn less than the average, so use the bare minimum budget or use some of the money in your buffer savings. Then we move into the yellow zone. Your average income is between your bare minimum and baseline. If your average income is less than your baseline, but still higher than your bare minimum, you are in the caution zone because you are surviving, which is great, but you may not be saving consistently or covering all your responsibilities the way you would like to. This is your sign to take a closer look at where your money is going. You might need to reduce some non essentials, find ways to stretch your income, or consider how to increase your income over time. Then we have the red zone. Your average income is below your bare minimum budget. If your average income doesn't even cover your bare minimum needs, that's a red flag and a real challenge. This means your income is not meeting your basic living costs, and that can feel stressful. But remember, this is not about blame, it's about building a plan. So here's where you focus on reducing costs wherever possible, exploring community supports, and looking for ways to boost your income, even if just temporarily. You might also need to revisit your bare minimum list and ask yourself, can anything be paused, canceled, or deferred just for now? The goal is to bring your average income up to at least meet your bare minimum and then slowly build from there. Whatever you land on this traffic light today, green, yellow, or red, just remember this is information, not judgment. Now that you have done the math, you know exactly where you are, and that means you can start taking steps forward. So, in summary, let's see how this system works in real life. Let's keep this simple. You only need to ask yourself two questions. Where does my money stand compared to my budgets? And based on that, which budget do I follow this month? That's it. You have just created a flexible, real life financial system that moves with you. But what about next month or the one after that? That's where savings come in. Saving money, even if in small amounts, is what gives you breathing room, peace of mind, and options. So let's dive now into step 3, prioritize financial stability. The step 3 in our system is about building financial stability, not just getting by, but putting yourself in a stronger position for the future. When you freelance or work gigs, you don't always know what next month looks like. That's why it's so important to reduce your debt so more of your future income stays in your pocket, and also to build savings so you're ready when income dips or expenses spike. This step is all about taking control of both sides of your financial foundation. That means reducing what drains your money, like high interest debt, and building what protects your money, like savings and buffers. We have grouped this step into 4 key buckets that you can fund over time depending on where you are right now. So, where to start? First, debt payoff fund. This is your top priority. If you're carrying high interest debt, like credit cards or payday loans, paying it down should be your first priority. Why? Because the faster you reduce that burden, the more money you will free up for other goals, including savings. If you cannot pay all the debt off all at once, try setting up a debt payoff fund. Even small regular contributions can add up. Then use those funds for a lump sum payment or to make more than the minimum payments. Then we have emergency fund or like a buffer fund. While you focus on debt, it's also wise to build a small buffer fund, even 200 to 500 to start, so you're not relying on credit cards for unexpected expenses. This fund gives you peace of mind and protects your progress during slower months or surprise costs. Then we have irregular expenses fund, also known as sinking funds. These are predictable but non-monthly expenses like car maintenance or school supplies or holidays or any annual fees. They are predictable. You know they will happen at least once a year, but they feel like emergencies if you don't plan for them. So save small amounts into a separate bucket. You can have more than one bucket, more than one sinking fund, so you are ready when they come up. Finally, we have short-term goals. Once your debt is under control, and your emergency fund is already funded, and you have some irregular expenses funds, you can start saving for personal goals like, I don't know, buying a laptop, a vacation, or a moving expenses. The key is to separate these from your buffer so you're not tempted to dip into essential savings. You don't have to do it all at once. The goal is to build financial habits layer by layer, starting with debt repayment and a small buffer, then adding in other savings as you go. Because when you're saving and paying off debt intentionally, you're actually building freedom, confidence, and control, even in an unpredictable income world. All right, we have walked through the full system, but I know there's a lot of information to take in. So before we wrap up, here's a quick reference guide. This is kind of your personal cheat sheet for budgeting and saving with irregular income. If you like, go ahead and take a screenshot of this slide. It brings everything we have covered together in one place, something you can revisit later anytime you need a refresher or just a little motivation. So the step one, know your numbers. Start by calculating your average monthly income. The more months or even years you can include, the more accurate your picture will be. Step two, build a flexible budget. Create your two versions of your budget, a bare minimum budget for low income months and a baseline budget for your typical month based on your average income. Don't forget here, use your bare minimum when income is low and save any extra from high months to build your buffer fund. Step three, prioritize financial stability. So start by paying down high interest debt, build a small emergency or buffer fund, save for irregular expenses. Remember your sinking funds. Then work towards short-term goals and future plans. And then I have a last one for you. Take action today. Make it real. Before you go back to your normal activities, ask yourself, what's one small action I can take this week to move forward financially? It could be start tracking your income and expenses, or go back into your statements and check your last 2 months of income and expenses. Opening a savings account. Maybe you want to make savings automatic and set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your savings account, or you want to set a short-term financial goal. Whatever it is, make it yours and commit to it. After choosing your next step, keep in mind that support is available. You're not alone on this journey. Credit Canada is here to help you keep the momentum going. So financial wellness is a process, and the good news is you have already taken a big step today. In this slide, I just have a few ways to continue building your confidence and taking action. If you feel you are stuck or overwhelmed, just book a free and confidential session with a certified credit counselor, or we are here to help. This is our free number. You can also visit our website. We have excellent resources such as calculators, budget planners, expense trackers, or on-demand webinars, blog articles, and much more. If you're looking for a simple way to start budgeting, we have a budgeting app, is the Butterfly app. This is a great option. It's totally free. Um, and this is especially relevant when you're studying fresh in Canada. It was created for newcomers. It's available in English, French, Spanish, and Hindu, but anyone can benefit from this budgeting app if you want to start taking your money more in control. We also have a short e-learning course if you want to start building or rebuilding your credit. This is a great way to start. It was also created for newcomers, but the tips and tools work for everyone. So if you are new to credit or want a refresher, it's a great place to start at your own pace. We also offer our financial coaching program, Credit Canada Gold. So this is a very, very amazing program where you will get access to small group coaching, accountability bodies, and expert support, all virtually. Plus, we stay with you for 2 years. After the program, we have follow-ups, check-ins, live events, and free resources. This is scholarship-based, so there's no cost for you. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, maybe you could consider our financial coaching Credit Canada Gold program. And finally, as I said, take one step today. Let's make it real. What's one specific action you can take in the next 7 days? Pick the one that fits your life right now and take that step. Action builds momentum. All right, that brings us to the end of everything I wanted to share with you today. I hope this session gave you some useful tools, new ideas, or even just the reassurance that you're not alone in your financial journey. Now I love to open it up to you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm just gonna see the chat to see if there's something there. Any questions? Any comments? I don't see any questions or comments in the Q&A or the chat. Before we wrap up completely, as I said at the beginning, we really appreciate your feedback. So after the end of the webinar, you will get the pop-up with the survey automatically. But if you prefer another way to access the survey, this is the QR. If you have a moment, please take just a couple of minutes to share your thoughts. Your feedback helps us improve and keep offering support that truly meets your needs. So again, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We hope to connect with you again soon. I'm going to stop recording